Yo, today I'm just going to be talking about how I painted my ceiling, and I get that for the most part this might be boring for most of you, so I will be releasing my Hexlight install and review video at the same time as this one. So if you're not really interested in the painting, maybe check that out instead. I started by taping off the corners first. I like my lines looking clean as fudge, so I went around the perimeter doing just that. I didn't really want to paint the back where all my random crap is, so I taped a straight line from where the wall is to where the mirror is. My intention is to eventually have a curtain or a room divider of some sort there to separate the space. That way it can truly be only a gym. Because to be honest, I hate looking at the clutter back there as I'm working out. And even when I have it cleaned up, it's still just an area that almost always has clutter. So I'd rather just like block it off and out of sight, out of mind. So that room divider would be good stuff. Next, I went around painting over the tape with the current wall color. That way, when I peel the tape off, there shouldn't be any bleed under the tape, which is a frequent issue that happens when painting, making all the lines crisp as heck. Because I did that same technique on my walls here, these stripes may as well be fried because they looking crispy. Next, I loosened the garage door guide rails so that I could paint underneath with a new black color. I'm a big proponent of doing things right the first time rather than doing something like the Landlord special. I did forget to record this, but I did the same thing for the garage door opener in the center so that it is painted underneath without having that paint on the metal itself. I also forgot to record setting up to paint the majority of the ceiling. So as you can see here, I did have some spillage as I was setting up because I'm not the most adept guy in the world, but hey, I'm trying. This whole endeavor took a lot longer than I expected it to. I spent about 5 to 6 hours overall in my hot as fuck garage mid-August, and it was like mid-90s out. I started with painting the garage door side first because I knew I would have to take off the garage lights to paint underneath them. And for that, I would have to pull the circuit breaker, plus I'd be in the dark. So, garage door side first, so I could have the garage door open a bit later on. And while I do have a background in electrical work as an airplane mechanic for the Air Force, I was unfamiliar with house electrical work. But it wasn't bad at all. Just 3 wires, input, output, and the ground. And did that for both the lights. Then had to fill in some of the scrapes that I made when removing the lights. For these light fixtures, they do get pushed on and twisted, so I had to do the opposite motion to take them off. And that's why it ended up scraping the ceiling a little bit as I twisted them off. My technique for painting was basically plop a ton of paint on the ceiling, then spread it around. But this was my first time painting so much area, I didn't really know what I was doing. The attic door was particularly annoying with the roller, so I decided to paint most of it with the roller and then leave the more detailed work for the brush. The rest of the ceiling was pretty easy. Going back over the attic access point with a brush didn't feel like it took forever, but I guess it was like 20 to 30 minutes. I didn't get too close to the walls with the roller because I wanted to limit how many touch-ups I'd have to do later. So I actually left painting the corners until later with a brush. Painting the corners wasn't too bad. I just did exactly what I did before with the wall color, but this time with the black. As I was removing the tape, it wasn't as easy as expected. I purposely put down the tape with the new one over the last one, that way when I grab the end piece, it would just let me remove all of them in one go. But that isn't how it played out, because the tape kept ripping. Putting the lights on were just a bit of a pain because of that push and twist motion I mentioned earlier, but overall, not too bad. It was a ton of work day of, so I didn't record any of this audio or even show the aftermath of all the work I did. So I'll be doing that now. Obviously, it was pretty easy to make sure everything here was covered, and there's no real streaks that I noticed, but even if there were, with the lights on, very difficult to see. And I'm pretty happy with the way all the corners turned out. Super straight lines. There are some spots, places that I need to touch up. I don't know what I'm waiting for. When I took off the tape, it did expose some of the screws in the drywall that connect the drywall to the studs. I think, and it also peeled off some of the paint. which is unfortunate, but whenever I go back for touch-ups, those would be pretty easy to do. This corner in particular is pretty bad, but easy touch-ups. Super straight lines. This area needs quite a bit of touch-up, particularly this spot and that spot, but overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Especially this line here that separates where all my clutter would be. Look at that. You can't even tell I'm moving. And that's it. So if you want more DIY by your guy, Porky, make sure to subscribe, and as always, stay hungry.